I am Judge Eleanor Stone. For over 20 years I've presided over this courtroom, striving to keep the scales of justice balanced. I've heard the darkest secrets of humanity, the strangest tales of desperation and deceit. But some cases don't just fill the pages of a file, they haunt your soul. Today I'm going to tell you about one such case. Claire Madison, a 34-year-old elementary school teacher, a beloved figure in the small town of Willow Creek. She stole a single bottle of perfume from a shop. A simple theft, you might think. But you'd be wrong. Because when the police searched her home, they found a diary. That diary wasn't just the musings of a teacher. Its pages held secrets that shook our quiet town, secrets that blurred the line between reality and nightmare. If you're ready, step into my courtroom. But be warned, this story might unsettle you. April the 5th, 2025, Willow Creek. A small, peaceful town nestled in the heart of America. Claire Madison was caught red-handed in the act at Lavender and Lace, the town's only luxury perfume shop. Security cameras captured it all, Claire picking up a $300 bottle of perfume, glancing around nervously, and slipping it into her bag. The shop owner called the police immediately. Claire didn't resist. "I did it," she said to the officers, her voice shaky but resolute. In my courtroom, Prosecutor Harold Thompson argued it was a straightforward case of theft. Claire's record was spotless. A decade teaching at Willow Creek Elementary, adored by students, respected by parents. A woman who read bedtime stories to children, who inspired young minds. Why would she risk it all for a bottle of perfume? The prosecutor suggested financial trouble, but Claire's bank records showed no debt, no crisis. Her salary was modest, but sufficient. This was merely the surface of the story. In the courtroom, Claire's eyes betrayed more than guilt. There was fear, a shadow of something unspoken. It was as if she was hiding something, or something was hiding within her. Why? I wondered, my gaze fixed on her trembling hands. Why would this woman do such a thing? Defense attorney Laura Bennett argued that Claire had been under immense stress over the past year. But was that just an excuse, or a glimpse into a deeper truth? Claire Madison was born and raised in Willow Creek. Her father was the town's blacksmith, a man of calloused hands and quiet pride. Her mother, however, vanished under mysterious circumstances 15 years ago. Claire grew up in the shadow of that loss. The townsfolk avoided speaking of her mother's disappearance, but whispers lingered. Some said she ran away. Others hinted at darker fates. Despite this, Claire built a life of purpose. As an elementary school teacher, she didn't just teach. She inspired. Parents praised her patience, her dedication. But over the past year, something changed. Friends noticed Claire withdrawing, her once bright eyes clouded with distraction. She lived alone in a modest cabin on the outskirts of town. Neighbors reported seeing her lights on late at night, sometimes hearing strange noises, like whispers in the dark. One neighbor, testifying in court, said, "I heard voices from Claire's house, like someone was murmuring in the dead of night." Those words sent a ripple through the courtroom. When the police searched Claire's home as part of the investigation, they found something chilling in her bedroom. An old, leather-bound diary. At first, the prosecutor dismissed it as irrelevant. But when the detectives opened it, the pages were filled with unsettling entries. Claire wrote of seeing shadows in Hollow House, an abandoned mansion on the edge of town. Another entry described a night alone in her classroom, where the chalkboard began writing on its own. One chilling note read, "They told me to steal something." Who were they? Was this the product of a fractured mind, or a clue to something darker in Willow Creek's history? The diary included entries that sent shivers down my spine. March 23rd, midnight. I was alone in the classroom. The chalkboard started writing. They're watching me. Another read, I saw a shadow in Hollow House. It wasn't human. It told me to take the perfume. And the most haunting, the symbol is everywhere, on the walls, in my dreams. As a judge, I know such writings aren't typically admissible as evidence, but this diary offered a window into Claire's mind. The prosecutor began to question her sanity. Was this theft a sign of a breakdown, or was something more sinister at play? Willow Creek, for all its charm, has a history of unexplained vanishings and eerie occurrences. Claire's mother's disappearance was one of them. When Claire was called to the stand, the courtroom fell silent. Why did you steal the perfume? I asked, my voice firm but laced with curiosity. Her response froze the room. The perfume. They told me to take it. Who? I pressed, my patience thinning. Claire paused, her eyes dropping to the floor. Then, in a near whisper, she said, The ones in my diary. A murmur rippled through the gallery. Defense attorney Laura Bennett jumped in. Your Honor, my client has been under immense stress. The pressures of her job, her isolation, the trauma of her mother's disappearance. These pushed her to a moment of weakness. But Claire's words couldn't be dismissed so easily. What do you mean by the ones in your diary? I asked. Claire's voice trembled as she replied. It's like someone else was holding the pen. I'd write at midnight, but the words weren't mine. It felt like something was making me write. The courtroom buzzed with whispers. Prosecutor Harold Thompson seized the moment. Your Honor, he said, the defendant is clearly experiencing a mental breakdown. I request a psychiatric evaluation. But I saw something in Claire's eyes. Fear, yes, but also a desperate plea for understanding. Her trembling hands, her fleeting glances, suggested she was running from something. Who were they? Was this a delusion, or a trace of Willow Creek's dark past? Another witness was called, Emily Carter, Claire's colleague at the school. Emily testified, One day, Claire was staring at the chalkboard, as if she saw something. She told me, The board is writing. I thought she was joking, but her face was pale as a ghost. Her words silenced the room again. What do you think? Could someone write such things without control, or see things that aren't there? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments, because this story is far from simple. The diary's contents spurred the police into action. Hollow House, the abandoned mansion Claire wrote about, was a cornerstone of Willow Creek's dark folklore. In the 1960s, a family living there vanished overnight. The townsfolk called the place cursed. Children avoided it, and adults whispered, Hollow House is haunted. When detectives searched the mansion, they found traces matching Claire's diary. Symbols scratched into the walls, an old perfume bottle, and in a dusty room, the exact symbol described in her writings, a circle with an inverted triangle, edged with strange, unreadable script. Claire's diary called it their mark. Even more chilling, the police found a necklace in the house. Claire's mother's, lost when she vanished 15 years ago. It bore the same symbol. Was this a coincidence, or a clue to her mother's fate? The prosecutor insisted Claire was delusional. Your Honor, he argued, the diary is a product of her fractured mind. But I couldn't shake the feeling that these symbols and the necklace pointed to something older, something tied to Willow Creek's history. The town had seen other vanishings, other unexplained events. In the 1970s, another woman disappeared under similar circumstances, and symbols like these were found in her home. Was Claire caught in the same mystery? One diary entry stood out. The symbol speaks in my dreams. It told me to take the perfume, or I'd end up like my mother. This suggested Claire's theft wasn't just an impulse. Was she trying to unravel her mother's disappearance, Or was she a victim of her own mind? The police dug deeper into Hollow House. In the basement, they found an old chest containing a 19th century journal. It spoke of the town's founding and mentioned a shadow society that used the symbol as a sign. Was this a myth or something real? Could Claire's diary be connected to this ancient text? The Claire Madison case transformed from a simple theft into something far more complex. A psychiatric evaluation found no severe mental illness, but suggested Claire might be experiencing a dissociative state due to stress and isolation. Her diary's writings, fact or fiction, remain a mystery. Claire was sentenced to 100 hours of community service for the theft. But the symbols in Hollow House, the perfume bottle, her mother's necklace? Those remain locked in the town's secrets. The police dismissed the findings as inadmissible, but as a judge, I can't help but wonder where the truth lies. Was Claire lost in the labyrinth of her own mind, or had she brushed against Willow Creek's dark past? This case shook me to my core. Sitting at this bench, I've learned that justice isn't always black and white. Sometimes the truth hides in the grey. What do you think? Is Claire's diary a product of imagination or part of a larger mystery? Share your thoughts in the comments, because this story doesn't end here. Until the next extraordinary case, remember, justice is rarely as simple as it seems.